Okay. Hi there. How you doing, Christine?
Doing well, doing well.
Okay, great. Hi, Cheryl. I think Cheryl Rock is here.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hi, Monique. Hi, Christine.
How are
Hi.
you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Okay,
How
great.
about yourself?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Okay, great. So it's 6:01. Let's just go ahead and get started. I don't know why I'm
Okay,
behind.
recording.
I am recording.
All right.
Okay. So greetings, everyone. Welcome to 13 Moons, our introduction evening for our upcoming phase or cycle, which will be the new moon in Pisces, full moon in Libra. How to see the purpose through the pain. What an exciting. Well, I know it sounds like it's not exciting, but it really is because there's so much power that we can source from painful experiences when we have the skills and the tools that we need to be able to navigate through them. So let's say a little prayer, introduction prayer, and then we're going to get us started. Okay. So how good it is to center into this moment, to come into the awareness of the universal presence and power that is activated through and away, around and as our very lives. How grateful I am for this experience, this work that is the moon 13 Moons initiation that helps us and supports us in creating the lives that we desire. How wonderful it is to have a tool and a practice and a community to be able to generate love and abundance and health and wholeness and well-being in ways that are magical and sublime and subtle, that truly allow us to have power in our lives, power to transform, power to create, power to be who we are born to be. And so I give thanks for each and every one who is here within the sound of my voice. I give thanks for my partners, Cheryl and Christine. I give thanks for our assistant, Nicole, who supports us in all the ways. And I give thanks for everyone who is doing this moon work and who creates a vortex of creation together. For what we do together is certainly more powerful than the things that we do separate and apart from one another. So for this, I trust and know that the time that we spend tonight is anchored in sacred practice, is anchored in transformational energy, and that we have everything that we need to be all that we desire to be and so much more. For this, I give thanks. I let it be, saying, and so it is. Ashe.
That's how it is. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
All right, let me get started. So our topic tonight is how to see the purpose through the pain. And this is just a little overview of what we're going to cover. The purpose of pain, the upcoming Pisces Libra moon cycle, and just kind of the astrology surrounding this upcoming cycle. The types of pain that hold you back. And we'll talk about moon phases and powers and moon cycles, and also how you can go deeper. Okay. So really, this kind of starts out with just with the question of, does pain have a purpose? And I don't know, Monique, what do you think about, like, how do you view it?
Yes. Okay. So there was a time in my life. So thanks, Christine. There was a time in my life when pain was unbearable to me. Like it's still unbearable to me on occasions. Um, but it wasn't until I realized that it was my ability to be with the pain that was actually going to help me build my power. And and so when you say, does pain have a purpose? Yes, it does. And I would say that it's unavoidable. It's as much a part of the process as pleasure. And if we know how to be with it, it is a gift. And it's not unlike what we see people who are highly like athletes, right? They endure a great deal of pain through strength building and building their skill sets or their ability to do whatever it is they do, there is pain in the breaking down of something for the purpose of rebuilding it. So that's biological and scientific, but that's also true for our emotional realities as well. So
Yeah, I think that even just starting with that base biological scientific thing, the reason we have pain receptors is to keep us from harm. It's to let us know, if we touch a hot stove, we're going to get a signal through our fingertips that, ow, I need to move my hand away. And I think at a really base level, like that's kind of at the root of it, like pain is information. It's stimuli. And in that sense, it has a very distinct purpose, like to alert us to something that needs attention, essentially. And we'll go a little deeper into that, but really I just wanted to kind of start out with a little bit of a basis for just, what is it? Like, what is pain? And I think we're wired to avoid pain as humans, and to move towards pleasure. Like I think that's actually in our wiring. I think we get conditioned out of it in certain ways, but I think that's really how we're wired. If you watch children, it's really clear.
Yes, yes.
So we always base these cycles around the astrology that's happening, and these topics and themes. What we find is that when we kind of focus on one and get the heart of what the energy is in this next month, that a lot of people, even though we might not all be working on exactly the same thing, we're all in the same energy, and there are parallels, and we can we'll have parallel experiences with other people, by looking at the topics. So I'll talk about Pisces, and then you want to talk about Libra. Or we can both. So the new moon is going to be in Pisces in this upcoming cycle. Pisces is the sign of really consciousness itself, spirituality. It's where we separate a little bit from our understanding of the world and detach from it, so that we can see all perspectives and that we can experience all. And so Pisces energy is vast and open, and we're going to be starting the beginning of the cycle. The sun is in Pisces and the new moon will be in Pisces, and so that some of the energy of what we're clearing or what we're releasing in this cycle, some of the shadow side of Pisces is where we make ourselves victims, where we numb out around things that are uncomfortable, where we try to avoid and detach. Like we detach almost too far from reality sometimes, like in the shadow side of Pisces. Do you want to talk about Libra a little bit?
Yeah. First of all, I love that Pisces thing. So you have a Pisces moon, right?
I do.
Yes, and I have a Pisces rising, so we understand this Pisces thing very intimately. Do you have
Yes. Sorry.
do you have any Libra in your chart, just out of curiosity?
I do.
What?
I have Jupiter in Libra.
Oh God, yes.
I know, this cycle, I'm like, oh, this should be fun.
Right, exactly. So Libra, beauty, harmony, and balance. And so Libra is Venetian at its core. It's ruled by Venus. And so it's there is an internal pull that I feel like we all have in us that is towards beautifying, towards balance and harmony. Like there is a pull there. And one of the things Christine and I were talking about before the call is how balance is something that it's not a static. It's a moving thing. And when we can learn how to work with harmony, the universe creates, I think, like patterns of harmony that's easy to follow, like the cycles of the moon. And it's always an ebb and a flow. And when you can be present to those ebbs and flows, then you can strike balance occasionally. It's like you go, oh, there's balance. Okay, now it's gone, right? Oh, there's balance. Now it's gone. But there's that harmonizing thing that happens. A little of this, take away a little of that, and then balance shows up. And so I really do appreciate that Libra energy that is it's constantly working to bring us into balance, which is something we rarely if ever find, but there is always the pursuit of it.
Yeah, I think that Libra, um, it- whenever there's Libra transits happening, it'll bring to our awareness places where our life are out of balance.
Mhm.
Um, and Libra, that desire for balance comes with the desire to harmonize, the desire to be able to understand other perspectives and to be able to weave a social fabric,
Mhm.
essentially. And that's where the desire, like in Libra, comes from. And so it's not so much about, like finding this perfect static balance, but it's really just that ability to be flexible enough
Mhm.
that you don't get stuck and set in your ways, that you can see the opposite perspective to whatever you believe.
Yeah.
It's actually, I feel like it's kind of an agility,
Yes,
is
I
what it
agree.
is.
It is I have Mercury and Venus in Libra, and
Mhm.
it like I can feel me going back and forth and back and forth, and it can be challenging for me to stay in one place, and like being rigid is just not available to me. You know, not easily. So yeah, I get it. I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot that you have those Libra placements. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And the South
And,
Node there as well.
yeah, and the shadow side of that can be um it, being able to see all the sides of things. It means that's why like Libras get that reputation of not being able to make decisions, because sometimes that thing that makes you really flexible and understanding and you can see all sides of things, also it makes it hard to cut something off and choose.
That's right.
So yeah, so this upcoming full moon in this next cycle is going to be highlighting all those themes.
Mhm.
Where does our life need to be a little more beautiful? Where are we out of balance?
Mhm.
Where do we need to make a choice?
Mhm. Yes.
And so I always like to kind of put it in a sentence, like just the arc of the cycle and how can I trust the beauty of painful growth?
Whew.
And that we're, during the new moon, we're always releasing. Um,
Mhm.
so how can I release some of the shadow Pisces energy? How can I release the places where I numb out or where I feel like a victim or where I feel like things are happening to me? And during the full moon, we're restoring something. And so, like where in our life does it need to feel more beautiful?
Mm.
Where do we need to feel a little bit, where do we need to be a little more objective?
Yes, yes,
Where are
yes.
things in balance? So that's kind of, that's the heart of um, the astrology of the cycle. And that informs, the themes that will be coming up for us.
Mhm, mhm.
So for pain, we kind of talked a little bit about this, that pain is a messenger.
Mhm.
It's an indication that we desire something. Like if you think about if you've ever had feelings of jealousy, like if you really dial down into that, it's because we usually want something that someone else has.
Mhm.
It's not like the situation itself, it's there's a desire, there's a need there.
Mhm.
And the pain is alerting you to that need.
Mhm.
Pain tends to command attention, especially if you've ever experienced physical pain.
Mhm.
you know it's it demands attention. When you let something go to the point where like you're in physical pain, it's very difficult to ignore
Yes.
sometimes when things are at that place. So it is a signal, it is a messenger, it is something that commands attention.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I love that you use the example of jealousy. I once learned that jealousy is an indicator that I'm not fully in my expression. Like it's showing me that I'm not being something that I can be, or that you know what I mean? Because if I see something that someone else has, I've not activated it in myself, but it's available. That's what the jealousy is telling me, that it is available to me. And it is painful as heck. It's not, jealousy is the one that I'm like, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is, and you're right. It's like you can, and that's an example of what we do with the pain is so important.
Hmm.
If we really can see it in this more neutral way, that it's information, it's a messenger.
Right.
So, whenever, like, if I have that feeling, if I have a feeling of jealousy around another person, the first thing I'm going to ask myself is, what do I want that they have, or what do I want that they express? Like, that's what it's about. It's never about the person.
Correct.
And and that's where, um if we're not willing to sit with that a little bit, that's where we will just project it and make it about the person.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with them, like, who do they think they are, like, and all of that. And so if you take the information that's available to you,
Hmm.
it's a really powerful path when it comes to anything that is painful.
Hmm. Hmm. It is. It's it's such a gift. I feel like sometimes lately I've been doing quite a bit of shadow work, because shadow work is painful. And like this last cycle started in Scorpio, the one that we're in now, and my shadow work comes up and it's painful, and it can be a little masochistic, It's like, oh, but you have to, it's like you got to find joy in it somehow. Otherwise, you'll hurt people around you or yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay, so this really gets to the heart of the theme that we're going to be looking at this month, because really, like, in a way, this is about your ability to trust life, to trust what shows up is there for a reason, to be able to trust that what is showing up is here for you,
Mhm.
as opposed to happening to you.
Mhm.
And so what happens when we lack trust in that message? Like, what does that look like? It looks like a lot of these things. Because essentially we have two choices when it comes to pain, and we can, um, we can receive the message, we can be with it, we can feel it, we can express whatever needs to be expressed, um, or the opposite, we can try to do something to make the pain go away. And there's all kinds of different things that we choose. I couldn't possibly name all of the different ways in which we will try to avoid ourselves.
Mhm.
I tried, but it's a longer list. And avoiding it, that can look different ways too. It can be more internalized, like, sadness, like depression, like, that's often internalized
Mhm. Mhm.
pain. Um, Anger, being aggressive, being violent, like, that's projecting it outwards. That's like playing hot potato with your pain. I
Mhm.
don't want to feel this, so I'm going to give it to somebody else.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes.
Um, and really, I mean, those are the choices. And there's a lot of creative ways that we can, that shows up in terms of how we avoid our pain.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, do you have any that, like, what are your go-to things? What do you think?
Yes, yes. So when I like pain for me, like I tend to be one of those grit and bear it kind of people, which isn't a solution. That to me is a level, it's kind of avoidance on some level. It's like I'm going to just grind down on it and just hold. Like I just start to carry a lot of tension, and I get rigid. Like I start holding myself, and it can be emotional pain, like I don't like being vulnerable. I don't like being vulnerable around people. So if situations are causing pain for me, I would rather swallow it or figure it out rather than inviting somebody else into a conversation with me to process it, because I know that I can't ask someone to be different. But I also realize there is an alchemy that happens in being vulnerable with another person, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I have in the past really suffered around stuff like this. I've had to be with a coach and like talk about my resistance to pain. Like I'm afraid of pain. I'm afraid of feeling bad. But it's all in my mind. And so I do my best to work through it with moon cycles, exercise. I tend to fast. Um, yeah, yeah. What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm similar. I tend to go more internal. And a lot of times like this is going to be rooted in how how did people deal with pain around you when you were growing up? Because generally, you often will follow that same pattern. Like I liked to be alone. Like I didn't like to cry in front of people or like that's not the container that my family held.
Mhm,
And so that's always my knee jerk reaction is to withdraw, to
mhm,
hold it to myself and, um, kind of sit with it before, like I can't just talk about it in the moment. But some people that, if you grew up in an environment where like people just acted out, they just felt it, they just were in the moment, um that's usually not a difficult thing for you to do then.
mhm,
Or if you grew up seeing people projecting their pain,
yeah,
like that might be more likely the habit that you fall into. A lot of times like we're really conditioned with these kind of responses from
mhm,
what we learned,
mhm,
like from 0 to 7.
mhm. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, it's a doozy. And this is what like a lot like so my family had a lot of addiction. And I have my own because I'm a Virgo, I tend to do things in opposite, right? So I tend to be an extremist. Like, um, I might not become an alcoholic, but I'll become an exercise fanatic. Like I ran marathons. That's still an addiction. It doesn't matter if it's because it's that root thing. Where's it coming from? Right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, mine looks like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think what I wanted to address like here is that there is a cost to not being willing to be with pain or feel pain.
Mhm,
Um like it has a price.
mm,
If we ignore physical pain in our bodies, or really, I mean, honestly, if we have more emotional pain, like that can turn into physical pain in our bodies, that can turn into illness in our body.
mhm,
Um, there's a there is a price to holding on to it.
mhm,
Um, like even like you were talking about holding tension in your body. Like I can feel when I do that. I do the same thing. It's like, oh wow, my jaw is completely clenched, or my shoulders are completely tense. Like that has an effect when you repeat those kinds of things.
yes.
um so even though it feels like we're avoiding something, we're really not. Like there is a price. It's
That's
like
right. It's not going anywhere.
it isn't.
You have to
It,
work it out. And it's a thing, like I am a 52-year-old woman and I am working out stuff that I was avoiding when I was 12 today
yeah.
or 17 or like literally it's like if you read the cliff notes and like there were tests that I would pass by reading the cliff notes, right? It's the same with the emotional stuff. It's like if you don't really do the work, it's not going anywhere. And I discovered that I carried around for lifetimes. One of the most fascinating things I've been realizing lately is like karmic pain with people that I am in relationships with from past lives. It's like,
Mm.
what? What? Are you serious? You followed me from, from that dimension to here? Fuck. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. It really doesn't. Yeah, and so that's, this is some of the things that I think are going to be stirring around during this upcoming cycle, like all of this kind of stuff, like any of these places where we're avoiding pain. I think that's going to be some of the clearing work this cycle, really.
Oh yeah, here we go. So dizzy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think this is the best therapy ever. Like it's self therapy. It's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So really, like, I just like to invite a couple questions when thinking about like this upcoming cycle and the astrology of it. Where can your life be more balanced? Like where are things out of balance in your life? Are there any places where they're really clearly out of balance? Where are you refusing the message from the pain? Because, the thing is, it's like, it's like when somebody has like court papers to serve, they're just going to keep coming till they find you. And it's the same thing with pain. The messenger's going to keep delivering the message until you receive it. And so it's a good question, to sit with for this cycle. Like, where are you refusing the message?
Yes.
And what intention, to start to feel into like what intention do you have for this upcoming cycle? Like what feels like something that you want to work on or address or would like to create in the next 28 days during this cycle?
Yeah, Cheryl Rock says, what are the attributes for a balanced life?
I think we all define that ourselves. It's different for different people. And because I even think that sometimes that extremes are exciting, and they're, I think maybe the key is that there's different phases, there's different things at different times, and so maybe just that we're flowing with what wants to come through at the moment is the best balance that we can have. But really, like, and there's exercises that, like, if you ever work with a coach, they'll do like the life wheel and sort of divide life into different sections, and you sort of rate like, how is my life in this area? Like, so just as a basic thing, you could really kind of ask yourself, like, okay, what does my money look like? Am I happy with that? Do I feel like I have enough? What does my material, physical security look like? What do my relationships look like? What does my health look like? I mean, I think those are the three main things that most people are in pain about all the time.
Yeah.
In various different ways.
Yeah.
And so even just kind of asking yourself, like looking at those areas and saying like, okay, do any of the, is anyone calling for a little more attention right now?
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
And sometimes they can all affect each other as well.
Oh, I find that if I can just get to the core thing, everything starts to sort of work itself out.
Yeah.
And you have to find out what your core thing is, right? Everybody's different.
Yeah, it makes me think of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like when someone is in survival mode, when they really do not have enough resources to survive, you are in crisis until you do at some level. And it's really difficult to look at any of those other things. If you don't have like a roof over your head or enough money to get by, that is going to be the acute pain.
Yes.
And then when that's addressed, like when that shifts, like, okay, now you might realize that there's these other things that are in balance that you couldn't even look at before because you're in crisis mode. So yeah, it's layered.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah. And I think a good way to look at it too is like, where does it hurt the most?
Whew. Come on now. Wherever your south node is where it hurts. I know maybe that's not true, but where is your south node, just out of curiosity?
Virgo.
So it would hurt in your body the most, or like the inability to like organize your life, or to, right? It's like,
or like if I get really, for me, like if I get really caught up in self-criticism, like really judging myself. I was actually just saying to a friend today, I'm like, you know what? I am so much easier on myself than I ever have been in my life. Like I used to beat myself up so much, like there's nobody on this planet who has been as critical towards me as myself.
Mhm. Oh, I believe you. I believe you.
And it's like, and I was realizing that, like, a lot of that has really moved. Like, I really have a lot of compassion and grace for myself at this point that I didn't have for most of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. My South Node being in Libra is like it shows up in relationships. My pain shows up in relationships,
Yeah.
or through self-abandonment because my North Node is in Aries. So if I don't stand for myself, I suffer. I pay for it.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Okay.
Yeah. For me, with a Virgo South Node, it's like when I try to control too much,
Yes. Yes.
um, it doesn't work.
Right.
That's me just spinning out. It's like I always have to move back to that place where, like, no, you've got to just trust the
Mhm,
flow of things,
mhm,
trust that it'll work out okay.
mhm.
Like if I get all bunched up in trying to manage it, I know that I'm off course.
Oh yeah, that's a really beautiful thing because it's like that's the thing that I love about the moon work. One of the things that I have gotten from this process of doing this moon work for the decade that I've done it is that I can let things go
Yeah.
because I know that when it's time, they'll come back.
Yeah. That's the beauty of
Mhm.
really doing this like year long,
Right.
because you really see that there's just certain things that they just come up at the time they need to come up. And and you can always look at the astrology,
Mm.
and sometimes I even do it in retrospect. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why that issue was happening.
Yes.
Astrology for timing is beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
for understanding the timing of what is the thing that needs the most attention right now,
Yes.
because it's going to happen anyway.
Mm-hmm. I
Like
agree.
it's going to activate whatever these things are. And so sometimes just having awareness around it is so helpful, because it's like you can get a head start on it. You cannot go into it blind and be blindsided by it.
Mhm.
It's kind of like, okay, we're moving into a Pisces new moon. That means that there's this that's going to be going on.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the moon phases.
So the moon phases, this work is at the foundation. The moon phases is what runs it. And there are 8 phases to the moon. And we go through each phase with a different ritual and a different energetic that is connected to the moon. And so um, using the moon phases at the right time to do the work that is required at that time. So you move from pain to beauty and pleasure, learning to manifest 2 goals. So every month you get to choose a goal. And this month it'll be around the Pisces and Libra energy. So for instance, I don't know what my goal is yet, but I might choose a goal because it's Pisces that I would, let me say something. Oh, because my family, right? So Pisces, my mother had a Pisces moon, my father had a Pisces moon, my mother had a Pisces rising, and I have a Pisces rising. So I will likely set a goal around heritage stuff because it's a family thing for me. And it would look something like accessing the mystical power that is in my heritage. Like, I come from a family of witches. So, and we all had addiction because we didn't know. So I will use the phase to really access that. And if you understand your astrology, these moon phases will help you start in one position, and then by the end of that cycle, you'll be in an entirely different experience by going from the last quarter moon to the waxing gibbous over the entire month period. I hope that was okay.
Yes.
I've never, Cheryl normally does that, and she does it so beautifully. So,
It does.
is there anything you
And the
want
thing,
to add, Christine, that might help it?
yeah, the thing that I really love about learning the cycle of the
Mhm.
moon is that you know when you're in alignment to do certain things. It's like you're not trying to swim upstream. It's like there is a time for every type of action, whether it be internal or external. And we map that all out for you. And we remind you when it's happening. And so like you don't have to overthink it. Like you're gonna know like when the time is to do certain things.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the comments while you were talking, and Mayana says her moon sign is in Libra. So that means the full moon is going to be happening in your moon sign. So, like, those are usually significant cycles.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. And it makes such a big difference. Okay, I don't want to
Yeah.
drag it
And
on.
Cheryl's saying she uses the moon cycles every month. It's like, that's what happened for me. It's like once I learned them and I internalize them, like I can feel them now.
Yeah,
It's almost like this group is like training wheels to really learn this.
that's right.
And but then what happens is like you just get it in your bones. Like you can feel it. You start thinking like, oh, you know what? I know where we are in the cycle right now. Like even without knowing what day it is or when it shifted.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. So some of the things that we're really focusing on, cultivating the ability to trust the painful experiences in life and mine the gems of meaning. There's always a gift. Like Monique, you were mentioning in the beginning, there's always a gift. Like a lot of times like that message, the message that pain is bringing us, it's pointing us in the direction that we need to focus.
Mm-hmm.
Balance in life and harmonious relationships are available to you. That's really like that's a plug for the Libra full moon. Like it is possible to have harmonious connections with people. It is possible to have a life that you feel, sometimes balance might be you just know what thing to focus on at what time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that in itself is balance. And that doesn't mean everything's the same all the time. It means that you just know how to show up in a particular energy when you need to.
Yes.
And how will manifesting your short-term goals with the support of a sacred community shift your life? It's really like having support and having people doing this along with you is really powerful. It keeps you accountable to yourself. Like a lot of times, like when you allow yourself to be witnessed, it just adds a layer of commitment. It adds a layer of support.
Yeah.
Now, are you ready to embrace this very thing you resist and let it unlock its beauty?
Yeah.
Okay. Want to talk about the upcoming cycle?
Yes. So the next cycle begins on March 5th. And what you will have available to you is you get to choose 2 objectives that will help you, that will work with through through this month cycle. An objective that has something to do with Pisces and Libra. So basically that's around your relationship to your spiritual practice or your spirituality, your subconscious self, right? The ancients called it the amenta, like the subconscious, where you go in and you get to let me give an example. So I'm a Pisces rising, and I have always felt things inside of me that didn't show up in the external reality, but they felt real to me. And so I've been able to use the moon cycles to access magic powers. That's because it's like, where do you go learn magic from? But the moon will deliver you to it. It's like, and it's a real thing. So that has been one of my objectives for many years, but that is very much a Piscean objective. And the Libra full moon objectives around that are like harmony in your relationships, or calling in new love, or deeper self-love. These kinds of goals, really, to work with them for an entire month, they change your life. They really do. I've had a relationship before where the person and I just, we would kind of argue, like we just had power struggles, because I have the sun conjunct Pluto and I tend to power struggle with people. And I just would run a moon cycle around that relationship, and it would totally harmonize the relationship and stop the power struggling, because the moon cycles will do that. So you get to create two objectives and work with them for the moon cycle so that you can manifest something different on the other side of it.
Yeah. And you can, and we kind of suggest these themes because that's where the energy is, but it's whatever, like whatever is coming up for you. Like your objective is going to be really personal. If you have a specific thing you want to work on this month, that's great. And, like it's going to be different for everybody.
So what you will get, how you will have the support in this group, you have a private Facebook group where there are about 50 of us, maybe about 65, where we work together on a daily basis with the rituals. Christine, Cheryl, and myself are there guiding you along every day. We will complete a monthly template, no guessing on the using phase, which phase we're using for the moon. So you'll always know what's up. You'll always have the rituals and we'll tell you what resources that you can use to support you through the phases, like which crystals, which oils, what kinds of tools can you use to help your energy harmoniously work with this phase. You will have the support of 3 coaches. There is a full library that will allow you to understand how to use the energy and how to practice. If you need to learn more, understand more, we will have accountability to keep you on track. There's also 3 live calls that we do each month. There is a planting moon meditation call that I lead. There is an access call that Christina leads for astrological guidance. And then there is a full moon breathing ritual that Cheryl leads to assist with the work as well. And then there will be email reminders to help you understand what's going on when you need them. If you sign up today, the monthly rate is $97 a month. It is a year-long course and it is $97 each month. And so I do highly suggest that you stay for the entire year. And I really suggest that because people sometimes tend to come and go. It takes a good 3 months, I would say, for you to really understand the rhythm of the cycles so that you can fully benefit from it. But if you sign up today or before, within the next couple of days,
Yeah, by the 3rd.
By the 3rd, if you sign
Midnight on the 3rd.
Yes, if you sign up by the 3rd, you will be entered to get a free reading by myself, and I will sit with you and give you a personal reading to help you understand what's going on in your life right now, or just how you can use this energy in a way to really up level your life. And I wanted to ask, I know that Cheryl is here. And Cheryl, you can totally say no. You've been doing the moon work with us for a while. I would wonder if you would share how you have benefited from this work, if you felt comfortable doing that, Cheryl.
I'm not sure. She might not have been able to say.
Okay, yeah, she may have gone already.
Yeah.
Okay, well, she's not here. But anyway, so that is that. So Christine, you have anything else you want to add?
No, just that we would love to support you through this. It is a super powerful thing. Like taking an objective and turning that into tangible results at the end is amazing. And it's amazing how seamless it can be if you flow with this process. And yeah, so we would like to welcome you into the group. The sign up bonus, that if you want to be in the drawing for the reading with Monique, you just have to join by midnight Pacific time on the 3rd, which is Wednesday.
Yep. So with that, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you being here, Christine. Thank you so much always. And I will see you in the room, and blessings to everyone who's here. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.